Well, welcome back to Straight to the Source. And this is our third time now that we've jumped in here to hit record. So, welcoming the very special Rachael Santis.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming here. Rachel and I were just talking before we got started just about how powerful it is to really show up authentically. I'm really looking forward to this conversation and to share Rachel's incredible journey. So I want to formally introduce Rachel with her bio because I love it so much. So we'll kick off with that. So Rachael Santis is a certified rebirthing breathwork and embodiment facilitator who, after years of her own deep healing, spent living in Peru and Guatemala. She now helps women come home to themselves. Rachael doesn't speak about healing from the outside. She has lived it. She's walked through some of the hardest things a person can face, carried shame in silence for years, and found her way all the way back to her voice, her body, her joy, and her freedom. Now she takes everything she's lived and pours it into her work, holding space for women to release the shame that's been holding them back, reconnect with their body's wisdom, and become the creators of their own lives. She is now living proof that who you were is not who you always have to be. And she's here today to share the story behind it all. So, thank you for choosing to be part of this podcast episode. And this is Rachel's first time sharing her story in this way. So, feeling really honored to have you here in this space. Um, and yeah, everything as we discussed, everything is welcome. And looking forward to getting this out there. So, maybe if we start from the very beginning, Rachel, if you want to take us back to little Rachel, to your childhood, what was it like growing up as Rachel?
Yeah, so I will just say I'm feeling a little bit emotional, a little bit nervous. My first time speaking my story like this, but I'm feeling very grateful and excited as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. So little Rachel, um, for little Rachel, I mean, I don't remember a lot of my childhood. I've been reclaiming a lot of that.
Mm,
And I've been doing that through breath work,
mm,
but I didn't have the best start to, yeah, the world. I I have a father that was very violent and yeah, since a very little baby, I mean, there was lots of domestic violence in the house, and there's a story, and it makes me a little bit shaky even talking about it, but I was a little baby and my mum was bathing me, and he came in and he started to like kick her cesarean scar and smash her head into the tiles. And I nearly drowned in that moment. And I've actually gone back to that moment in my breathworks, and I've been able to reclaim that moment in my life, which caused a lot of fear.
yeah.
And yeah, from that moment, my mum fled with no clothes and no money. And yeah, we were sort of homeless for a while, lived in houses that were very run down and things like that. So,
Mm,
yeah, my childhood from there, I had to see my dad every single weekend or every second weekend. And I've had memories coming through of different things that would happen when I'd go there. And yeah, he's a very unstable man.
mm,
And so a lot of my best memories for me were in nature. So sitting in the grass, being with the flowers,
mm,
being around animals. I've always loved being around animals. They were like the safest
mm,
sort of thing for me to be around because they don't hurt you. They're just got unconditional love. Um, and yeah, since starting the breath work and doing my breath work, I've actually been able to go back and reclaim memories that I've shut out.
mm,
And I feel like what I've learned is the body really shuts out things to help you survive.
Yeah.
And it isn't until you're ready to be able to hold that of what happened to you that something comes along in your path to allow you to be able to go back and reclaim that.
Mm.
And yeah, so a lot of the things that I've gone back and reclaimed have been quite traumatic and quite horrific. And I am grateful for it
Mm.
because now I understand why am the way I am and why I've walked through life in so much fear and haven't had a voice and internalized a lot. And I've been too scared to speak, too scared to, stand up for myself throughout my life. And since being able to go back, even though it was hard and painful,
Mm.
it's been so amazing as well because I've been able to understand me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, there were a lot of moments, like my dad held a knife to me when I was little. I was very sexually abused, and my mum had no idea. Like, I only ended up telling her this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, like he decided to stop seeing me when I was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So I was seeing him up until 6 years old. And the story was that, he didn't want to pay child support anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that, but the more work I've done, I've also been able to see that he was doing his bit of light. That was his bit of light in the world, was to make that choice to not see me anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. And from there, my stepdad came in and he was a beautiful man. He raised me. He, gave me everything that I needed. The emotional support wasn't there from my dad and my mum. Um, but I feel like they gave me what they could.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, from my childhood, I had quite a hard, I suppose, time at school.
Yeah.
I feel like I just wanted to kind of fit in
Mm-hmm.
and be loved and fit into spaces that
Mm-hmm.
weren't necessarily the best spaces for me. And I put myself through a lot of pain by
Yeah.
doing that. And, I shrunk my voice a lot.
Mm.
I kept wanting to be around people that weren't treating me well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I couldn't really focus at school because my nervous system was just in such a freeze, fight, flight, all of it response that I couldn't take in information. I was failing school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I used to wag, I used to drink, I used to do all the things. Um, and I suppose for my whole life, I guess I've been doing everything I could to escape.
Yeah.
And that was just what I did.
Mm-hmm.
That was just how I moved through the world, what I did, how I got through. Um, yeah, and when I was at school, my dad got really sick. So mentally, he got unwell and he wasn't treating me the best. And we were fighting. This is my stepdad. We were fighting and we were, yeah, just not getting along. So I was like finding it so hard at school, wagging, doing all these things, getting in trouble off my parents because I'd get caught every single time.
Yeah.
And then at home, it was like really painful as well because I was going through this big change with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, when I turned 18, I was at a boyfriend's house because I used to do anything I could to just not be at home.
Yeah.
And a girlfriend came in the morning to my boyfriend's house, and she's like, "You've got to come home." And I was like, "Okay." And I got in the car, and she was kind of weird on the way. And I was like, "Is everyone okay? Like, is my mum okay? Is my brother okay?"
Mm.
And I never asked about my dad. And when I got home, I walked in, and the energy was just so, yeah, I'll never forget it. And my mum took me and my brother out the back, and she told me that, my dad had taken his life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll never forget that moment. I just screamed. I fell to the floor, and
Mm.
that grief, that confusion of someone taking their life has been one of the biggest things I've worked on. It's taken me
Mm.
10 years.
Wow.
And yeah, I guess we're going into the teenager side of things now, but
Mm.
that was sort of the upbringing and
Mm.
the way life was growing up.
Wow. Mm. Just yeah, just feeling mm, the weight of your journey so far. And I know when people share these stories, it's still only just fragments, of the lived experience. Um, and so firstly, just like to honor your, obviously with the work that you do and the journey that you have been on and that you continue to be on, for you to be able to recognize, your biological father's light, for you to be able to speak to that after all that you experienced in this human realm is huge. So just wanting to firstly acknowledge that is really, I guess, a huge part of the soul's journey, right? Like to have these incredible awareness whilst we're here before we transition and go back to spirit, for you to be able to have that recognition and speak it is like, wow, amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, yeah, I've been so confused of how could someone do that?
Mm.
But the more I do this work, the more I realize that things are passed down
Mm-hmm.
and people do things because someone's done it to them.
Yeah.
And then the person that's done it to them, it's happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not making any excuses because I haven't done the things that my dad has done. And I've chosen to take a different path.
Yeah.
But I could also see in the work that I do that it is the connection that you have with a child
Mm.
to choose to leave a child and not pay child support, whether you are conscious or not.
Mm.
I just feel that was his bit of light in the world to make that choice. It would have been hard on some level.
Goosebumps.
And yeah, I'm not saying he's a light, like he's got light or anything like that. I
Mm.
definitely feel like he would probably have a lot to work on. I wouldn't know. I don't know him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, for myself, I was able to see that.
Mm-hmm. And that is, I think, the most empowering thing in this line of work that you do and that I do is that we get to actually, for ourselves first, it's like, I don't see it as going back. When you were talking about like through breathwork, you've been able to go back to memories and to do some healing around your experiences. We don't do that for them. We do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the most empowering things that I've found on this journey with my own work, that it's not doing it for anybody else. And I'm not even doing it for any external shift or change, but it's actually purely for myself. And even as you said, to sort of go back and regain those parts of ourselves.
Mhm.
is deeply profound. And I guess the words that kept coming up when you were talking as well, which I really resonate with, is around like soul contracts. Like I'm curious if you've, through breath work or anything else that you've worked with, has there been sort of more awareness around the soul contract between you and your dad, for example?
Yeah. Um, I feel like there's a few things in our contract,
Yeah.
and one of the biggest things has been to work with fear.
Mm-hmm.
A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the things that I've somatically been releasing, especially lately, has been deep, deep-seated fear.
Mm-hmm.
And learning not to spiral into that fear or let it overtake me, but to know that I can actually hold that. And with holding that, what I've learned is that is creating spaces for me to come and do things like this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? I feel like definitely around my sexuality
Mm-hmm.
and my sacred nose. And I mean, from what happened to me as a child, a lot of, ways that I interacted with men and ways that I wanted to get a man's love,
Yeah.
um, through maybe like having sex with them and doing things that I necessarily didn't enjoy.
Yep.
And something that I'm learning is like, I can speak what I want,
Yeah.
I can say no,
Mm-hmm.
and finding that voice and that courage of what actually brings me pleasure in
Mm-hmm.
life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah. And I suppose this is going a bit ahead of time, but after my dad died, my stepdad died, I had to leave. Like I just had to leave home. And I moved to Sydney and I got myself in a bit of trouble, And I met a man and he was exactly my dad,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see it. So all the same stuff that
Wow.
played out with my dad,
Wow.
with this man. There was like abuse, there
Mm-hmm.
was a knife held to me the exact same way
Wow.
situation with my dad. Um, there was, yeah, sexual abuse and just wanting like his love so badly, but he never fully chose me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like he came in, and the contracts are quite similar, was for me to break the cycle
Yeah.
because it got so intense
Mm-hmm.
that I ended up having to run, and he did not care about the police. I had gotten multiple AVOs to the point where he just didn't care. And yeah, like when I left, I got to actually be like, what do I actually want in a man?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not that.
Yeah.
And that was the moment that I chose different.
Mm-hmm.
And I chose to fall into, as I met, Phil was the next one, my husband now, that came along. And his energy was so different to
Mm-hmm.
what I was used to. I wouldn't say it's boring, but at that time,
Mm-hmm.
because I was so used to like such intense highs and lows,
Yeah.
and this man was actually safe and steady, I was like not used to that. And I was like looking like, is this love?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that was the moment it was like, this is love.
Wow.
And I'm choosing to take a different road now. I'm not going to repeat this pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know where I was going with the contract with that, but that just sort of came in.
Yeah, I love it because I think you really speak to how like I guess even why we do this work, right? Like I am very passionate about inner child healing as a you. And so why do we do this work? Why do we go back into that to reclaim those parts of ourselves and to almost like look after our younger selves? And I think you've just given a perfect example of why we do that. Because otherwise, our subconscious is constantly trying to seek resolution through other people, through just playing exactly the same role. We're just all these playing these roles in this life on earth for so many different reasons. And one of that being, lessons and growth and experience. And so you've just given a perfect example of why we do this work. Otherwise, we do just continue to attract, I find in my experience, even bigger situations the more that we go on not listening.
Hmm.
So
Definitely.
I think it's incredibly powerful. And so much of what you share resonates with my story as well, around my dad being the initial perpetrator, for a better word, and then later on in life going through and having these different experiences with other men, finally getting to that next real soul contract to trigger off deeper deeper wounds of around betrayal and abuse and depression and anxiety and suicidal thoughts, which was actually not originally, it didn't make sense to me that that was even about my dad. But as you say, the more work we do and trace back, we can dig deeper into more of the roots of where these pains have come from, and for a reason, as you say.
Mm. I also feel like another part of our contract is the abandonment wound.
Mm,
So that was probably the first time I was abandoned in my life.
mm,
And I've been able to go back and be there for
yeah.
the little me.
Mm-hmm,
And through that, it's taught me to learn to be there for all parts of me
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
in all moments when different things are coming up and different patterns are coming up. So I
yeah.
feel like that was definitely a part of our contract as well.
Yeah. 100%. And I love that. It reminds me of something that came through to me one time in a, medicine ceremony, which was my father forgot so that I could remember in this life.
Mm, I love that.
And it's not to take away from anything that we've experienced in this physical human realm. But that's why I love that you're able to acknowledge, that your father stopping to pay child support was his way of, bringing light into your world, like really shifting a direction in your life at that point, and then for your stepfather to come in and to have a different experience, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like it's actually important to acknowledge as well your stepfather in, the beautiful gift that he gave you as a father. So he came in at 6 or later?
He came in at 6, yes. He lived next door to my mum.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'd play with him all the time. And
Yeah.
yeah, he was a safe man, definitely safer than my dad.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when sorry, you go.
No, you go.
Well, I may be jumping now. When I was going to wait, let me check. I feel like I want to go to, you talked about when you got home and you found out that your stepfather had taken his life.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like that was the hardest moment of my life.
Yeah.
Um, the journey from that day it was just undescribable.
Mm,
Um, I remember it so clearly. It was just this shock of like, oh, this person that's been in my life for so long is
mm,
now gone and gone in this way.
mhm.
And I had a lot of anger um, towards him
Yeah.
for a long time. Um, how could you leave us?
Mm,
And I had a lot of anger towards myself, actually. I feel like I blamed myself, which I know is a normal response to suicide because how can we not see the signs?
Yeah.
Um, how could we have just thought he was just being mean?
Yeah.
But when you don't have that emotional intelligence, how are you to know?
Yeah, definitely.
Um, but yeah, even though I was angry, I spoke at his funeral. Um, that was something that I wanted to do. I, yeah. And I remember when I was writing what I wanted to say, like, my mum came in and she's like, I think you should write that you didn't have a good relationship with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay, like your mum knows better. And, I wrote that in. And yes, I didn't in the end, but I felt like now doing the breath work and I've gone back to revisit those spaces, I feel like I actually took on her guilt and her pain about his suicide
Yep.
and I spoke it
Yep.
in a speech
Wow.
to everyone. And yeah, a year later, his sister messaged me on Instagram and she's like, congratulations, it's a year since your dad died. And again, I took it on. And for years, I took it on. And then this led me to, I suppose, leave home and get myself into all that trouble.
Yeah.
I was drowning in grief. I
Yeah.
didn't know how to process it. I was pushing it away.
Mm-hmm.
I became anorexic. I lost a lot of weight. I weighed around 51 kilos and I'm 173 centimeters. I'm very tall. So that's a lot of weight to lose, like,
Mm-hmm.
and very thin. So yeah, I was struggling. I was drowning. I was not okay. I ended up going on antidepressants and Valium.
Mm.
And that is a normal thing in my family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was just I was struggling so much through life for so long with this grief. And actually wasn't until I started breath work was till I was able to understand how to process grief.
Yeah.
And I was able to connect with my dad through my breath works.
Mm-hmm.
And, he would come in and I'd see him as this angel
Yeah.
and I'd see him as he was evolving on the other side and
Wow.
growing into this angel. And I even remember, like, after a couple of years in, his face started changing, like he was morphing into this younger version of himself. But he was guiding me in the breathworks. He came in, I think it was like my third breathwork, and he said, it's time, you need to get off your antidepressants.
Wow.
It's
Oh my
time.
God. Goosebumps.
And I was able to have this deeper relationship with him
Mm.
through this work
Mm.
whilst he's on the other side and come into forgiveness and learn that my grief is not here to take me down. It's not here to kill me. It's when I started to learn how to let it in
Yeah.
as I would a friend, like I I used to see it as dad's coming to visit now. So
Mm.
it's time to let him in.
Wow.
And when I did that, it would be like a wave
Mm-hmm.
that would move through me. And it wouldn't go forever. It would just move through me and it would be so much feeling. And I realized that grief is actually how much I love this person,
Yeah.
how deeply I love and honor this person.
Mm.
And the more I let it in, the more it started to get shorter, like the waves got shorter and it started to shrink a little bit more. And it's still there and it still comes. but I know that I can hold it now and I have the capacity to be with it and it doesn't overtake me anymore. I
Wow.
actually now love when it comes
Wow.
because I get to feel how much I love and miss my dad and I feel that connection with him.
That's incredible. Even the
Yeah.
way that you've I think it's very, there's so much in this, and that's why I feel that when we really are given that space to share so vulnerably and authentically our stories, there's so much in this for people to take away. Even hearing you explain grief like that, like that it's, and the wave that comes, but then when you let your loved ones in, it's like you actually are expanding that capacity to feel them more. You're expanding that love. And I do believe that the not the deeper that we go, but let's call it the deeper that we go with our emotions, both sides. Like if we go low, 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 but we are doing it intentionally and consciously, that it actually just expands our capacity to go higher, higher, higher into the higher vibrational emotions and experiences. So I loved the way that you just explained all of that. It was like I was literally seeing visuals of grief and a new meaning of grief, which I find really very powerful to hear.
Mm. Yeah, I'm really grateful that I've actually, I mean, I miss my dad so much and I wish he was here, but I'm grateful that I got to experience this
Hmm.
level of grief and really feel in this life how deeply I love this man.
Mm, yeah. And it makes sense, doesn't it? Like when you were talking about going out and getting into different situations or seeking love and trying to get love or drinking or partying, like those common things that so many of us turn to when we aren't actually feeling safe enough to allow whatever it is that's there. So the grief, for example. But then when you were able to, well, I love that he came through and said, now's time to get off your medication. Like that's just, you can't make this shit up, really. You really
Mm.
can't.
Yeah, I was on my medication for about 10 years
Wow.
and I was having panic attacks.
Yeah.
I was a mess. I was still drinking. I had had very hard births and I
Mm.
had my kids and I was like, did not know how to be a mother.
Mm.
And yeah, this one day, like he'd come in the breath work and he'd said it. And then I think it was like 2 days after, I had this next level panic attack where I just had to like lie with my face in the grass. I just had no other
Wow.
option. It was that big. And I thought, this is not working for me.
Hmm.
Whatever this is, something needs to change. I know the message I got
Hmm.
and I'm going to go with it. And from then it was like, yeah, it was a slow process.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just went for it and did it in a safe, supported way. And it was the best thing I ever done. I haven't had a panic attack since I've been off it. So
Wow.
yeah,
That just speaks for itself, doesn't it? When we, and I guess also to, I feel it's important to honor the journey that we have. And so in that, I like to always look at whatever it was that we used as a coping or as an addiction, whatever it was, it actually helped us survive to get to who we are today. And then there's that gratitude in that coping mechanism for getting us here. As
yeah, definitely. I completely agree. I feel like they came and they definitely served a purpose.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then when you were ready, and I guess this takes us to the next part, because if I go back to what you said a little bit before, when you got up to meeting Phil, and you said, that there was this real obvious difference in his energy, and just to reflect back, like you were speaking about his energy and how different it felt, and I 100% believe that you only could have aligned with Phil because something along your own journey internally had shifted to be able to be a resonant fit with a different energy. So if you were to share with us, like, what was it? You've mentioned definitely like breath work, but even if you open up a little bit more specifically around what was it, do you feel that really changed that trajectory that you were on to get you to that point of after your experience with your ex-boyfriend that was very, very similar to your father, then what changed your trajectory within yourself to then align to following this path to meet Phil and to be living this life you do now?
I think it was just another one of those moments of like, I don't want that again.
Mm-hmm.
That did not feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And finding my worth in, I want something so much more than that.
Yeah.
And even though I wasn't doing the work when I met Phil,
Mm-hmm.
I felt into like the safety in
Mm-hmm.
a man that I wanted. And
Mm-hmm.
he brought that. He brought so much safety.
Mm.
And I feel like if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have gone so deep into this work
Yeah.
because I wouldn't have felt safe enough.
Yeah.
And he held me through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like Phil is, yeah, he was this energy that came in to hold me
Mm-hmm.
through all these different scenarios of pain that I've gone back and visited and reclaimed.
Yeah.
And actually, lately, I feel like our relationship is now shifting where he isn't that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
He is like a man just walking beside me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even because he does breath work too, and we've grown together,
Mm-hmm.
like we were both so different when we met and we've grown together. We're now recalibrating everything.
Yep.
And I almost feel like we need to get remarried because I feel
Yeah.
like, and reintroduce ourselves because I feel like we have both shifted and changed in our relationship, and the codependency and the way that we show up for each other has shifted so much.
Yep.
Um, yeah, it's beautiful. And I really feel so blessed to have made that choice and stuck with the discomfort of the steadiness
Mm-hmm.
because I used to feel, I think, more safe in the
Yep.
chaos.
Yep. Yep.
And I find that comes in layers. Like I still find myself learning to feel safe in the steadiness in
Mm-hmm.
layers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I resonate with that fully. And there's a lot for me to even like just start to reflect on with what you're saying. It just resonates so much. And I think for a lot of us, being used to, and I wouldn't say attracted to, but being used to the chaos, used to the environment that we grew up in, whatever that was, that, yeah, we naturally just will perpetuate those cycles, whatever they are, until we get to those lower points of going, right, like I'm not going to do that again. And I love earlier you actually mentioned about being the one to break the cycle, which is a huge passion of mine. And I always find I connect so strongly with people that really identify with being the cycle breakers. Because I do feel that there's so much awareness and there's so many tools that we now have to be at this point of our consciousness and to be here in this focal point to go, right, I see what's happened. I feel what's happened even more so because it's very intergenerational. Everything you were talking about with the grief as well from the other people in your family, you carrying that forward until you got to the point of going, right, now this is not mine to carry. And then I'm also going to work on what is mine. And it just completely changes the way forward for your children and for their children. And I see this evolution of humanity that we are consciously a part of, which is incredible.
Mm, I love breaking cycles. I feel like with my children, that's been the biggest, like, and the breath work has really supported that
Mm.
because I've found, when I first had Rylan, I was like not okay with him crying. I was like,
Mhm.
this is so uncomfortable. like, stop, like, and I was like finding myself snapping and yelling. And then after I would cry and I'd be like, I don't like that. That doesn't feel good. Like, what's going on? Like, why am I reacting and responding like this?
Mm-hmm.
And the more I went into the depth of the breath work and I was able to go and meet my little inner child,
Yeah.
I was able to see that, well, this is how she was treated.
Mm.
So she was then passing that down because
Yeah.
that's all she knew.
Yes.
And yeah, it's been amazing. Like, I'm so proud of myself with how far I've come with my children. And, now I'm able to just hold the space when they cry. I'm
Mm-hmm.
able to breathe through the
Mm.
discomfort. I'm able to breathe through when they're running around like crazy, and my inner child's like, we're not allowed to do this. Like, stop. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'm able to hold her now and be like, it's all right. Like, we
Yep.
are. We're
Yep.
allowed to have fun. We're allowed to run around. We're
Mm.
allowed to get messy.
Mm.
And I love that I've had boys that are like wild, that do beyond what I was, what I would do. So
Yeah.
it's been like a real big challenge in a way.
Yeah.
And I still have things come up where I notice, like, my nervous system is gone into a bit of a fight or flight, or I've snapped and I've gone, oh, why am I doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's something deeper here. And I go into a breath work and it takes me to a time at school or a
Yeah.
time at home, and I get to hold that part of me.
Yeah.
And then once I hold that part of me, my nervous system gets a chance to recalibrate and feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get to show up better for my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. It's again just that evidence of like, why do we do this work? What is the point of going back, as people ask? But we literally, as you said, we don't know any better than what we had ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really common thing. And particularly, I'm finding it, especially with two children now, I'm finding it even more emphasized around this passion and purpose drive I feel towards supporting people, actually supporting the parents. Because then when we get the support to, as you say, go back and to reparent ourselves and to hold ourselves in that, we have way more capacity for our children and way more tools that we have access to then hold space for them and to give them a totally different experience, but only when we do that for ourselves first.
Yes. Yeah. It was like I had to learn to hold space for my little girl, my inner
Mm-hmm.
child, to
Mm-hmm.
cry or to scream and punch and kick and yell. And once I could hold space for her,
Yep.
then I could hold space for my kids.
Yes.
And my son, like, he used to have these huge releases where there'd be like throwing, kicking, and I would just be like, stop, like, what's going on? And he would not stop. And it was because I was trying to shut it down.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then one day, like, I went into a breath work and I was able to meet myself in that and
Yep.
hold space for myself in that. And then I learned, oh, I just have to hold space for him.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to be like a present,
Mm-hmm.
still, solid, just what's the word? Like a present, just support
Yeah.
in his release.
Yep.
And he's not actually being a bad kid. He's just got to get this out.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we'd go outside and he'd do it and he'd like get sticks and he'd be like hitting the fireplace. He'd be like throwing stuff at me. I'd be like ducking and like breathing through it and just like, I've got you, like
Yeah.
holding myself
Yeah.
whilst also just being present with him. And that lasted like maybe 3, 4 releases.
Mm-hmm.
And then he hasn't had one since.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just had to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
And he needed that support and not to be shut down
Yeah.
in the process.
Amazing. It's so amazing and such a testament to your work because, as we just talked about, you can't do that and hold space for somebody, let alone your own child, who I find our own children will trigger the deepest wounds of our own inner child stuff. You can't hold that really safe, supportive space for them unless you've done that for yourself. Like it's a huge testament to have. And I totally hear you with your child raging and being okay with them raging, or accepting them whilst they're raging and allowing them to express that in a safe space where there isn't that judgment or that shaming or the suppression that we had as children.
Mm.
Because they're carrying just as much, like they've got their own mission, their own purpose, their own soul contracts, I believe, that they've come here to also be cycle breakers, and we're supporting them to do that as well, which is so beautiful.
Yeah, I truly believe that. I feel like that is the biggest thing I'm so proud of is the way that I've been able to shift how I mother my kids and
Yeah.
actually be there with them and be
Mm-hmm.
present with them and accept them as all that they are.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 100%. I hear you and fully resonate. And I also want to just speak to as well that these types of conversations I find are very, very purposeful, because there are people out there that even I've had conversations with who are, the child is the problem. The child is the one getting medicated. The child is the one getting separated or put into a special class, or all of these different things, which, 6, 7, 8 years, well, probably 8 years ago, I would have probably done exactly the same thing. And with our awareness and with these open conversations, I feel we actually get to start having these awarenesses of the child is not the problem. The child, exactly what you just said, like you have two perspectives of a child raging and expressing himself and moving the emotion, moving the energy just the same way that you beautifully described grief, the waves of grief. He's like innately got this knowing of how to do that. But as a society, we've been conditioned to see that as then he's different and he has a problem, which is total bullshit.
It is. Yeah. I I remember when he was first having the releases, I did say to Phil, "Do you think that there's something going on?" And Phil's like, "No." And yeah, the more I did the breath work, the more I realized like there's nothing wrong with this child. He's just literally got such big emotions and he needs to release it. And plus, I also found there's always a sensitive child in the home, and
Mm-hmm.
he is the sensitive child. And both of my kids, if Phil and I are moving through something and we're not releasing it, they will start to release it.
Yep, yep.
And so the more I did the inner work on myself,
Mm-hmm.
the less that they needed to have to go through that
Yes.
because I'm doing that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Tim and I often talk about exactly what you just said as children will express what we suppress.
Yes. I would go in my room sometimes and just like when I was moving through a lot of rage, and I'd just have to scream into a pillow like
Yeah,
10 times
yeah.
because I'd rather myself get that energy out than the whole house, like,
Mm,
oh, you know?
mm, mm.
And the more you stay consistent with it, it just steadies out. Like now it just feels really
Yeah.
steady in our home. And
Mm-hmm.
we know someone's moving through something. And I know what to do if I'm moving through something, and Phil knows what to do if he's moving through something.
Yeah.
And the kids feel very safe to express how
Mm-hmm.
they feel, and they know that they'll be loved and accepted no matter what.
Definitely. And it's like what you just said. It's not even that there's this unrealistic goal or expectation that as humans, when we're all healed, like I don't even think that's a thing, but that we're just meant to not feel angry, or we're not meant to feel the sadness, or it's like the way that you explained it, when you guys have stuff come up, you each recognize that and you can go and tend to what you need. And there's that also, I feel, from what you've said, there's that healthy interdependence. It's not the codependence where we're relying on other people unhealthily, but we feel safe enough to lean into each other at different points. And I think this is the most important work within the family system of how we're actually changing the world.
Yeah, definitely. Like even Phil, if I'm crying or moving through a wave, he doesn't, it's okay or anything like that. He just
Yeah.
sits beside me the
Yeah.
same way that we do with the kids. Like we're
Yes.
just present
Yes.
and
Yes.
we're not here to take it from them or to calm them or shut it down. We're just here to be there with them
Mm-hmm.
whilst they move through
Mm-hmm.
what they need to move through.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Um, so I just had like information come through. I feel like there's another podcast that you were like, well, there's another one. I feel like it's this. This is it. This is actually the stuff that I search for on aware parenting podcasts, for example, where I'm like trying to understand more about how children are expressing things and how it's interconnected into the dynamic of the family and all of this. I'm like, oh, this is it. So anyway, just marking that.
Yeah. I feel like all of this was unlocked
Mm.
through my past.
Yes.
So I had to go and revisit all these events in my past
Mm,
and learn how to be with those parts of me that were scared or angry or
mm,
hurting or lost and learn how to bring them home.
mm, mm.
And even the parts that I didn't want to face. And I'm like, nah, I
Mm.
learned how to love them. That's
Yep.
all they wanted. And they come forward in life because they're ready.
Exactly.
They're ready to be brought home. And if it wasn't for doing that, then I wouldn't have this knowledge and wisdom to work through all this with my kids.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's something that's not shared, like there's a lot of shame in it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like we've just got to start speaking it. The
Yep.
more that I've found that I've like spoken the things that bring me shame
Yep.
and you know, the biggest parts of me that I've felt shame about, I don't know, it like unlocks something.
Yeah.
It unlocks something for other people to be like, oh, there's nothing actually wrong with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there was nothing wrong with me when I was like snapping at my kids
Mm-hmm.
or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not able to hold space for them. It was just, yeah, there was just parts of me that needed love
Yeah. Yep.
and needed to come home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Something that I learned when I was in the hospital in 2018 as a patient for anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts was that shame dies when stories are told in safe places.
Yes.
And I really feel that in what you're sharing as well.
Yeah. That's what I learned with herpes. So
Mm-hmm.
I got herpes when I was 17 and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't tell anyone. And yeah, it overtook me. It shrunk me. I didn't realize how much until I started to accept
Mm-hmm.
that I have herpes and
Mm-hmm.
started to say it out loud
Yeah.
and let the shame die. And then I realized, wow, there's actually so much space in my body now.
Wow. How
Like,
amazing.
and there's so much I could do now. There's so much I could share.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
I'm ready to just be here and own who I am as a
Mm.
woman and as a person and all my life experiences.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with me.
No.
I'm just doing what was passed down to me
Ex-
or what I know best, but there's always more.
Yep.
That's something that I've learnt with breathwork. There's always more, and there's always so much change that you
Mm-hmm.
can create.
Mm,
And
absolutely.
that's just through going into things that you really don't want to go into.
Yeah, yeah. And then in this line of work, as you know, it gives people permission to do that with you, which is how we, continue to support more and more people through this work.
Mm. Yeah.
So on that topic, how did you, so from where you are and what you're doing now and who you are, most importantly, who you are now and what you've been doing. Like, what was the steps that sort of got you there? Were you in a different career or was there something different or did you go straight into the breath work? How did you end up being now where you are?
Oh, it's been a journey. So I started with yoga. I after my kids I like were born and a bit older, I was like I started getting into this path after my actually let's start with the panic attack. So after the panic attack, oh no, it would have been before the panic attack actually. Yeah, it was before that. So yeah, because I started sorry, I'm
No,
just
you're
trying
good.
to remember.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it started with yoga. I was
Yep.
like, I want to do a yoga teacher training because I've always been very, I love movement. It's
Hmm.
been a big part of my life. So I did the yoga teacher training and that opened me up to a lot. And then from there, I went into being a Pilates instructor.
Hmm.
And I did more Pilates instructing than yoga.
Hmm.
I think I did yoga a few times at a few retreats, but it was more Pilates. But I feel like that definitely served a purpose because I got more connected with the body
Hmm.
and with speaking in front of people
Yeah.
and just learning my voice and learning to have more confidence and also creating the program. So just getting like in touch with my creative self.
Hmm.
And then I went to breathwork. I found my teacher and I had no idea what I was going into. I'd never done it before and I just signed up to a level one training, which was online. And it blew me away from the first one. I was like, what was that? And I was like, I need to do more of that. So, yeah, I was doing my mentorship. I mean, not my mentorship, my level one. And that was when my dad came in and the panic attack.
Hmm.
And that was after like the third breath work. And yeah, I've just been, I'm someone that usually gets over things really quickly. But breathwork, I just cannot get over it. Like because every time I go in, it's something different. It's helped me in so many different ways. Like when I first started, I was so out of my body. I was very disassociated, which I didn't even know that that was a thing. I
Hmm.
was like over there. Like you look at my eyes and I was not here.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so the breathwork helped me to slowly start to come back into my body. And the reason why I was disassociated was because I didn't feel safe to be
Yep.
here because of my past. So it was connecting with the younger parts of me and the parts of me that didn't feel safe,
Mm.
holding them constantly, like not just in the breath work, in day-to-day life, and noticing when I leave and being like, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
all right to come back. And yeah, becoming that safe space for me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then, yeah, I went on to do my level one twice, level two, level three, which is amazing for the breath work that I do. It's an underwater breath work. So you actually breathe with a snorkel in a bathtub and you
Wow.
go back to the womb,
Wow.
your mother's womb. And that was actually, I learned the space that I disassociated because I could hear when my real dad was coming in the room
Wow.
and there was a lot happening with him and my mum. And I experienced myself in the womb in like fight, like
Wow.
just spinning around and not wanting to come out into the world.
Wow.
So I stayed breech when it came close to the birth. And then I was a cesarean C-section and I was able to feel how it felt to be born as a cesarean. And also, I learned a lot about birth in this way because when I was born as a cesarean, I literally felt all the doctors, all the nurses' energies absorb into me because
Oh
I
my
was
God.
such a clear soul.
Wow.
Yeah, everyone in that room just absorbs into you.
Wow.
So I got to learn in my level three that my mum's thoughts that like you're not just born with these thoughts of like I'm this, I'm that, I'm unworthy. They're actually passed down. I got to actually feel my mum thinking and it like going
Hmm.
into the womb. So that was really profound work.
Wow.
And then I went on to do my mentorships and I've done two of those and yeah, a level 4. So yeah, I just keep continuing the work because
Yeah.
I feel like yes, you can go and get a certificate,
Yeah.
but I feel like this work is something that you keep doing, and
Mm-hmm.
there's so many more layers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been the main modality. I've also done sound healing with you, which was really, that was the moment I found my voice as a
Mm.
woman. And that changed a lot for me,
Mm.
the sound healing level 1 and level 2. And since then I sing, I speak.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, and that's been moving up in layers since then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've done energy healing and things like that. But yeah, I feel like the main thing was breath work, and that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of been the big lead up.
Yeah.
I also feel like it's kind of an art. It's not just in your breath that you're doing the work, it's in everyday life. And
Yeah.
that's my devotion, is an
Yeah.
everyday life, being in awareness and being really conscious of the way that I'm responding, how things make me feel,
Mm-hmm.
leaning into saying no,
Yeah.
leaning into having hard conversations, like just different ways in relationship dynamics of showing up.
Yeah.
And that's been also a massive part of my healing.
My mouth hurts actually from smiling. Like I'm like trying to not, but it actually is now really sore. Which is so awesome, but I'm like, I need to stretch my jaw. I just feel like through this journey, it is a journey through these conversations. I love it so much. When Tim was doing them and I was pregnant, I was like in the room, locking myself in the room so we could do the podcast. I'm like, what is he doing? And now I totally get it. It's so fulfilling hearing you share and witnessing your journey, and the way you describe it is so visual for me. And I think one of the most important things that, and why I feel we resonate, is that there's such a deep embodiment of the work. And especially now in this time we live in, which is awesome. There's so many different modalities out there, and there's breathwork facilitators popping up after a weekend training, and cool, but is a big thing for me. Like exactly what you're saying. There's so many layers to this, and to take us back to what you were sharing in the beginning, we really cannot truly hold space for true transformation with people if we're not doing it ourselves. So to just do a course and to tick the box and go, yeah, I got a certificate, has been something that's been very triggering for me to really work on. But I love the embodiment aspects that you're sharing, and I can feel it. It's so deep and there's so much presence, because you're not just, as you said in your bio, like it's not just speaking about healing. You've done it and you're doing it, and you're committed to your own journey. And that for me is the number one thing, that if I was to go and see a practitioner or a facilitator or a space holder or anything like that, that's the most important thing for me.
Mm. Yeah, I was reflecting on this actually the other day, and I see it a lot popping up on Instagram, and
Yeah.
people doing quick courses and then holding space, and it can actually cause more damage to the person
Yeah.
if they're not like embodied in actually what they're sharing and what they're guiding.
Yeah.
And I feel like something that I've really learned along the way is how important it is to be discerning
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and to really look more into, like, is this person actually living it?
Yeah.
Who taught this
Yeah.
person? I mean, it is hard because anyone can kind of make themselves look like they've done more than what they have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you don't always know through Instagram how people are living their life.
No.
Um, but I was blessed. Like, I feel like I've been very blessed along my path with who I've found as mentors
Yeah.
and teachers and guides. And yeah, I feel like, if people do come across ones that aren't doing the work, they're just not going to go into the level of depth that they can go.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why you want to do the work, is to really go deep into what you can to be able to come out the other side
Yeah.
and just shine your light. And yeah.
100%. Yeah, yeah, I agree, big time. And I think discernment is a very important word. And like you said, like really just sort of being aware of the energy. And what I mean by that is really tuning into how we feel. Like, you know, when you walk into the room and you've got that, you can feel the tension. If there's tension in the room, people know what that feels like. And so I think for me, it's been discernment of energy has been, how do I feel when I start engaging with this potential person? Like, is there a sense of safety? Do I feel like I should be people pleasing? Do I feel tight in my body? Like, those are the sort of things that I find really help us to be able to discern,
Mm.
is to just be more and more mindful of ourselves because we can read energy very, very intuitively.
Yes. I feel like there was some people that I was around that were, for some reason, every time I was around them, I was like shutting down. I
Yeah.
was like just feeling like, what's wrong with me? I can't even talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd leave and I'd cry. And I was like, is this something I need to work on? Like, what is this? And then I ended up finding out that it was just actually like
Yeah.
my inner child knew.
Yeah.
Like she's so wise, and my body knew, my
Yeah.
body was sharing that with me.
Yeah.
So yeah, just listening to the body and not labeling it as it's a you problem all the time,
Yep. Yeah.
and noticing that that discomfort or that shutdown is actually like, oh, maybe this person isn't
Mhm.
right for me.
Exactly. Definitely. Definitely agree. So we'll start to bring ourselves to a close, which is sad, but I feel like you'll be back. So
I feel like I
um,
could keep going all day
I
now.
know, I know. This is the awesome part about it. It's like it really just opens up so much space. But I feel like I'd really love to do a specific conversation around that parenting aspect and the family dynamics and the inner work and the children. I feel like it's really potent. But
Yeah.
for this, so if people really resonate with your story, they resonate with your journey, they feel that sense of safety, and they want to know how to work with you, like what do you do? What do you offer? And what's the best way for them to contact you?
So I offer one-on-one breathwork sessions. So they can be on Zoom, like online, or I have a beautiful studio at the back of my house, which I've created and built, and it's so just nurturing. And I'm actually in here now.
Mm.
And just, yeah, it's beautiful. So we do one-on-ones here as well. I love in person, it's my favorite. And I also have just created a 3 or 6 month program
Awesome.
where women or men can work with me for 3 or 6 months,
Mhm.
where we do breath work every fortnight.
Mhm.
And there's a whole process that we go through with it. And also in between the breath work, there is um, constant communication, because I believe through like a Telegram app, because I believe that integration is the most important part. And so basically within their channel,
Mhm.
they have embodiment practices. We have like a general sort of communication chat that they can message me as things are coming up, and we can work through and become into more awareness of it. And then there's, yeah, like I'm pretty sure that's everything in there. But yeah, we just work with really embodying it.
Mhm.
So I feel like anyone can do a breathwork session, but when we have a few in a row,
Yeah.
say 6 to 10, it becomes a container, and you get to actually go really deep into the layers of what the breath wants to take you. I'm not taking you into anything. It's your soul literally bringing up what you're ready to face or see or change or shift or move through. And yeah, you get to go deep into the layers of that and then come out the other side. And that's where I feel like the biggest shifts happen.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the integration in between is just really embodying that into your life. Like I said, like, you know, leaning into discomfort in saying no, leaning into speaking to this person
Yeah.
in your life, leaning into letting go of this person, leaning into quitting your job, leaning into asking for a pay rise, leaning into going on a date, all the things that come up that you can actually lean into and embody deeper is what's going to create the lasting change, because
Yeah.
then your body learns, oh, I can do this. I
Mm-hmm.
can do the hard things.
Yep.
So I offer those. I also offer nature immersions.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we go out in nature. It's always a chosen destination I intuitively choose.
Yeah.
And one of my biggest healers throughout my journey has been nature. Like I said, most of my memories as a child was with nature. And as I've been moving through a lot of what I've been moving through, nature's been my biggest teacher, and she's held space for me when I wasn't able to hold space for
Mm.
myself.
Mm.
And she's guided me and taught me so much, given me so much wisdom,
Yeah.
calmed my nervous system, so much healing. So it's a day, it's just beautiful. It's either a half day or a full day where we just go out in nature and intuitively, um, I bring in what needs to come in. It could be breath work, it could be drum healing, it could be offerings. A really big part of what I do is ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like ceremony is like life is a ceremony,
Yeah.
and it brings you into presence. It brings you into, yeah, just the ceremony of life and prayer and that connection with yourself, your life and nature. And so we bring ceremony into it.
Mm.
Whereas I've done a lot of travel to Peru and to Guatemala and done a lot of work with ceremony
Mm.
in these spaces. So I bring the culture into it as well. And yeah, it's just a beautiful day where whatever unfolds, unfolds, and nature is there to bring up or hold space for whatever comes up, and so am I. So
Wow.
yeah,
Sounds
that's
amazing.
that's the other offering. And
Wow.
that's sort of all I've got going at the moment. I've got things coming in, but they're my main
Yeah.
offerings.
I love that. I love that it also supports, well, it was what supported you. And I think that's the biggest part of this journey is where we find that support and healing for ourselves. Then when we start to really do that and as you say, embody the work, we naturally then want to share that with others. And that's the most authentic place from sharing.
Yeah, everything I do, everything I share is what I've moved through or what I've used or what I've worked with. It's all from my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, my final question is, what's your future vision? What would you share for your future vision?
My future vision is we're looking at land
Hmm.
to create a retreat space, and it will be for, yeah, more group
Yeah.
like environment.
Hmm.
And yeah, just bringing that retreat in to bring community together and healing. And I find some of my deepest healing has been in spaces with groups,
Yeah.
um, and being witnessed by other women and other men, also having them bring up different triggers.
Hmm.
They could represent someone that in my life that I have the opportunity then to heal that and yeah, bring that into oneness. And yeah, just inviting people back into stillness and back into connection with themselves and the land and yeah, the present, the now.
Mm,
Yeah.
amazing. That's
I'm
so
also
cool.
organizing some retreats overseas, but they are, a surprise location as well, which will be similar vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. I love that. And it really speaks to, I think, community as well. Like the future of what you're doing is really, holding and bringing together community, which is a big part of what we believe is our purpose and mission here as well at this time. So I love that crossover. All right, well, this has been awesome, and I will definitely be doing something again. But are there any final words, anything that you would like to say to close out today?
I think, you know, one of my biggest things, like even coming on today, I was nervous. It felt very unknown.
Mm,
I feel like one of the biggest things is like your soul knows. And, I've been in so many places where I've been so lost and so not knowing what's going to happen or where to go or what to do.
mm,
And I think just the biggest message is to just trust what your soul's sharing with you, whether it's like as simple as getting a glass of water or reaching out to someone that,
mm,
you feel connected to in some way.
mm.
Um, and even though it feels scary or unknown, I feel like the key is to trust and just try, just give it a go because it can lead you, like it's led me to places that are just you would never have even imagined.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for coming on here, and I look forward to doing it all again soon.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me. It's been really fun.
You're very welcome. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll be back later.
Hey, hang around. You're going to find out who our next guest is in a fortnight. And it's worth waiting for. Well done for getting here. Not many people get here. You're one of the chosen ones. And welcome to the Straight to the Source Marvel Moment. See you next fortnight.